Maya Chen sat in her tiny apartment, staring at the acceptance letter on her screen. The Viridian Diplomatic Institute. She had done it. 3 years of night classes, 2 jobs, and more coffee than blood in her veins. But she had actually done it. Her ticket off Earth and into a real career as a galactic ambassador. She was reading the letter for the 5th time when her message system beeped. Another email from the Institute. Probably housing information or a course catalog. Maya opened it. Her smile disappeared. Dear Applicant Chen, it read, we regret to inform you that a clerical error has occurred. Your enrollment file was mistakenly merged with that of another student. Your acceptance to the Viridian Diplomatic Institute has been rescinded. However, you have been successfully enrolled in the Coxathor Combat Academy for the upcoming term. Due to interstellar registration protocols, this error cannot be corrected until the next academic cycle, approximately 8 standard months from now. We apologize for any inconvenience. Maya read it again. Then she started laughing. It wasn't a small laugh. It was the kind of laugh that made her neighbors pound on the wall, the kind that brought tears to her eyes. The Coxathor Combat Academy, the single most dangerous military training facility in the known galaxy. The place where alien warrior species sent their absolute best, and a quarter of them didn't make it out alive. And some administrator had accidentally enrolled Maya Chen, 5 feet tall in boots, human, into their incoming class. Her phone rang. It was her mother. Maya, I just saw the news feed. There's been some kind of mistake with your school. Yeah, Mom, bit of a mix-up. They're saying you got enrolled in some kind of military academy. For aliens. Dangerous aliens. That's about right. There was a long pause. Baby, you're going to fix this, right? Tell them no? Maya looked around her apartment. She had already given notice to her landlord, quit both her jobs, sold most of her furniture. Her family had thrown her a going-away party last weekend. Her little cousin had cried. The thing is, Mom, they can't fix it for 8 months, and I've already burned all my bridges here. So you'll wait, get a new job, we'll figure it out. Maya pulled up the academy information on her second screen. Full room and board, a stipend upon completion that would clear every debt she had. Training in combat, strategy, survival, and leadership. Sure, the survival rate was terrible, but it wasn't 0. I'm going, Maya said. Her mother's voice went up 3 octaves. You're what? I'm going, Mom. Look, I've already paid the transit fees. They're non-refundable. And the academy covers everything else. If I stay here, I'm broke with no job and no apartment. If I go, worst case scenario, I wash out in the first week and they send me home. Best case, I complete a year at the most elite military academy in the galaxy. Worst case, you die, Maya. Worst case, staying in Detroit was also dying, just slower and more boring, Maya said. I grew up in the sprawl during the resource wars, remember? I know dangerous. This is just dangerous with better food and alien roommates. Her mother was still arguing when Maya gently ended the call. She'd understand eventually. Probably. Maybe. 3 weeks later, Maya stood in the orbital transfer station above Earth, watching the other students board the shuttle to Coxathor Academy. She was the only human. She was also the smallest being in the entire terminal by a solid 2 feet. The Keldan were the most common species boarding. They looked like someone had crossed a rhinoceros with a warrior monk, and then wrapped the result in natural armor plating. They moved with precise, controlled movements, their 4 arms carrying equipment with practiced ease. Most of them were over 7 feet tall. The Shardborn were walking crystals, their bodies refracting light in dizzying patterns. They communicated in chiming sounds that made Maya's teeth ache. The Vexnil were the worst. They looked almost human until they moved, then their bodies phased slightly out of sync with reality. Maya had read they could walk through walls during combat. Great. And then there was her. Maya Chen from Detroit. Brown hair in a practical braid. Dark eyes that had seen too much. Wearing standard-issue academy prep clothes that had been tailored down 3 sizes and still looked baggy. A Keldon warrior stepped in front of her, blocking her path to the boarding ramp. He was massive, his armor covered in markings that probably meant something impressive in his culture. He looked down at Maya and clicked something to his companion. Both of them made a sound that was definitely laughter. Maya understood the tone if not the words. She had heard it before, in the sprawl, in her schools, in every job interview where they saw her size before her resume. She looked up at the Keldon warrior and smiled. Not a friendly smile. The smile she had learned in the sprawl. The one that said she had survived worse than him and would probably survive him too. Problem? She asked in perfect galactic common. The warrior clicked again, clearly surprised she could speak the trade language. His companion pulled him toward the shuttle. As they walked away, Maya heard one word she did understand in their language. Human. Yeah, human. That was about right. The shuttle was designed for larger species. Maya's seat didn't adjust small enough, so her feet dangled above the floor. The safety harness had to be rigged with extra clips. Around her, alien warriors checked weapons, reviewed training materials, or meditated in their various cultural ways. Maya pulled out her tablet and started reading. She had downloaded every file she could find on the Academy. The trials, the training methods, the survival statistics broken down by species. Humans weren't even listed, because no human had ever attended before. Because it would be insane for a human to attend. A shardborn in the seat next to her chimed something. Maya's translator earpiece rendered it as, "You are very small. Are you certain you are in the correct transport?" "Nope," Maya said cheerfully. "Clerical error. But here I am anyway." The shardborn's crystals flickered in what might have been confusion. "You will likely perish in the first trial." "Probably," Maya agreed. "But you know what? Probably isn't definitely. And I've been underestimated before." She went back to her reading. Around her she could feel the stares, the confusion, the assumption that she was a mistake, an error, something that would be corrected once they reached the Academy. Maya kept smiling. She had learned a long time ago that when everyone expects you to fail, there's a beautiful freedom in it. No pressure. No expectations, just you, the challenge, and the absolute certainty that you're going to surprise every single person who bet against you. The shuttle engines fired. Through the viewport, Earth grew smaller. Maya watched her home planet disappear and felt something settle in her chest. Not fear, not exactly, more like anticipation. The Coxathor Academy was going to eat her alive probably, but she had been counted out before, by everyone who looked at her size and her background and decided she wasn't worth the investment. Every single one of them had been wrong. Maya closed her eyes as the shuttle jumped to faster-than-light travel. 8 months until they could fix the error. 8 months at the deadliest military academy in the galaxy. She was grinning when she fell asleep. The Coxathor Combat Academy was built into an asteroid field, a massive installation of metal and stone that looked like someone had carved a fortress out of the rock itself. Maya pressed her face to the viewport as the shuttle approached, watching docking bays open like mechanical mouths. The gravity hit her the moment she stepped off the shuttle. It was heavy, pressing down on her shoulders like an invisible weight. Her legs felt made of lead. Around her, the other students adjusted easily to the increased pull. Of course they did. They were built for this. Maya gritted her teeth and walked. Just walking. 1 foot in front of the other. She could do this. The orientation hall was enormous, designed to hold hundreds of students of varying sizes. Maya found herself in the back, unable to see over the crowd of armored bodies and crystalline forms. A holographic projection appeared above them, showing a scarred Vex Nil whose body flickered in and out of phase. "I am Instructor Vareth," the projection said. The translator rendered his voice as cold and precise. "You are here because your species believes you are capable of becoming warriors. Most of you are wrong." A chill went through the crowd. Maya shifted, trying to find a gap to see through. "The first week will determine your worthiness," Vareth continued. "You will face trials designed to break you. Those who survive will be sorted into training pods. Those who do not will be ejected into the training zones to await retrieval." Maya's translator earpiece buzzed. She adjusted it, catching the end of Vareth's statement. "The trials begin in 1 hour. Prepare yourselves." The crowd dispersed. Maya was swept along with them, trying not to get stepped on. A Keldan's armored foot came down inches from her own. She dodged, stumbled, and caught herself on a wall. This was fine. Everything was fine. The first trial took place in a massive chamber that seemed to shift and change as Maya watched. The walls moved. The floor split into platforms. Environmental hazards appeared and disappeared. It looked like a nightmare, designed by someone who hated the concept of safety. Maya and 7 other students were pushed into one entrance. Her pod, apparently. The 7 others towered over her. She recognized the Keldan from the shuttle, the one who had laughed. Up close, his armor was even more impressive, covered in etchings that suggested he had already seen combat. A Shardborn stood to her left, its crystalline body casting rainbow patterns on the walls. 2 Vexnil phased in and out, a species she didn't recognize, something with too many joints and eyes on stalks. And others, all massive, all looking at her like she was a mistake. 5 objectives, a voice boomed through the chamber. Complete them before time expires. Work as a pod or work alone. Survival is mandatory. Success is preferred. The floor dropped away. Maya rolled as she fell, hitting a platform below and immediately moving. The chamber was chaos. Walls slammed together. Fire erupted from vents. The other students charged forward, using their size and strength to bash through obstacles. Maya went up. She had grown up in the Detroit sprawl, where the best way through a blocked street was over the buildings. She spotted a ventilation shaft, jumped, caught the edge, and pulled herself up. Her arms screamed in the heavy gravity, but she kept moving. Inside the shaft, the gravity felt less oppressive. Smaller space, less weight pressing down. Maya crawled forward, following the sound of machinery. The objectives would be in central locations. That meant power sources. That meant following the conduits. She emerged in a chamber, where one of the objectives sat on a pedestal. A simple marker, glowing blue. Maya dropped down, grabbed it, and was back in the vent before the walls started closing. Objective 1 complete. Below, she could hear her podmates smashing through obstacles. The Keldon warrior was using his 4 arms to literally tear through a wall. Effective, but slow. Maya found another route through the maintenance ways, the spaces between the walls where technicians would do repairs. Objective 2, Objective 3. She was heading for the 4th when she ran into the Shardborn from her pod. The crystal being was stuck in a corridor too narrow for its form, chiming in distress. Maya sized up the situation quickly. "Stop moving," she said. "You're wedging yourself tighter." The Shardborn stopped, its chimes questioning. Slowly. It took 3 tries, but the Shardborn managed to shift its crystalline structure enough to slip free. It chimed something that sounded like gratitude, then moved toward the objective ahead. Maya went for Objective 4. By the time the trial ended, Maya had completed 3 objectives on her own. The Keldan warrior had completed 1 through sheer force. The Shardborn had gotten another after Maya's help. 5 total. They had passed. The pod was transported to a waiting area. Maya's arms felt like rubber. Her legs shook. The heavy gravity was taking its toll. But they had passed. Instructor Vareth appeared, his form solidifying in front of them. His eyes, strange and multifaceted, scanned the pod. They lingered on Maya. "Interesting," he said. "Explain your method, human." Maya straightened despite her exhaustion. "I use the maintenance corridors and ventilation shafts, smaller routes for a smaller body. The obstacles were designed for large species, so I went where large species couldn't follow. And when your podmate was trapped, helped them free. We're a pod, right? That means we work together." The Keldan warrior, whose name marker read as Krishtok, clicked something aggressive. The translator rendered it as, "The weak mammal hides in walls like prey." Maya turned to face him. "The smart mammal uses available resources. You smashed through one objective, I got 3. You want to compare scores?" Krishtok's mandibles spread. In Keldan culture this was a challenge display. Maya had read about it. She held her ground, meeting his eyes, even though he was literally twice her height. Vareth phased between them. "Enough. Krishtok, the human earned her place today. You would do well to observe how she achieved what larger students did not." The instructor turned to the full pod. "You are Pod 7. You will train together, eat together, and survive together. Or you will fail together. Quarters are assigned, rations will be delivered. Rest while you can." The pod was dismissed. They moved through corridors to their assigned living space, a large room with sleeping platforms and basic facilities. Everything was scaled for larger species. Maya looked at her bunk. She would need to climb to reach it, of course. The rations arrived via automated delivery. Nutrient packs, labeled by species and calibrated for body mass. Maya grabbed hers and immediately saw the problem. The portion was tiny, enough for her Earth normal mass, maybe, but not enough to sustain her in the heavy gravity. She was going to be running a calorie deficit from day one. She sat on the floor, too tired to climb to her bunk, and opened the pack. It tasted like cardboard and sadness. A shadow fell over her. Kirschtok stood there, his armored form blocking the light. Maya tensed, ready to move if she needed to. The Keldan warrior reached down with one of his forearms and slid part of his nutrient pack toward her. A significant portion, maybe a quarter of his ration. Maya stared at it, then up at him. "Warriors do not waste assets," Kirschtok clicked. His translator rendered it flatly, but there was something else in his tone. Not quite respect, not quite acceptance, but not contempt either. Maya picked up the offered ration. "I'll remember you said that." Kirchtok's mandibles clicked. It might have been laughter. He moved to his own bunk, leaving Maya with the extra food. The Shardborn, who Maya had helped in the trial, chimed softly. "You are small but clever. This is valued." Maya ate the ration slowly, feeling the eyes of her pod on her. They still didn't trust her, not really. But today, she had proven she could complete objectives. She had proven she could help them succeed. It was a start. She climbed into her bunk eventually, every muscle protesting. Through the window she could see stars and the distant shapes of other asteroids. Somewhere out there was Earth, where people thought she was crazy for coming here. Maybe she was crazy, but she had survived day one at the galaxy's most dangerous academy. She had completed more objectives than warriors twice her size, and tomorrow she would do it again. Maya closed her eyes, her body aching, her stomach finally full. She was smiling when sleep took her. The Academy's training philosophy became clear over the next 3 weeks. Break them down, build them back up. Repeat until only the strongest remained. Maya learned to hate mornings. The pods were roused before the station's artificial dawn, thrown into combat drills in rotating gravity fields. hand-to-hand combat against opponents who outweighed her by hundreds of pounds. Obstacle courses designed for beings with natural weapons and armor. She lost. A lot. In combat practice, Kershtok put her on her back in under 3 seconds. The Vexnil could phase through her attacks. Even the Shardborn, Cascade, could use its crystalline edges to deflect her strikes. "The human is a liability," one of the Vexnil hissed after Maya failed to land a single hit during sparring. "She cannot fight." Instructor Varath observed from the edge of the training mat. He said nothing, just watched with those strange, multifaceted eyes. Maya picked herself up for the 10th time that session. Her ribs ached, her lip was bleeding. But she got up. Always got up. The other pods started to whisper. The instructors had made a mistake. The human didn't belong. She was going to get her entire pod killed when the real tests came. Maya heard it all, ignored most of it, used the rest as fuel. The breaking point came during a survival exercise. 48 hours in a simulated hostile environment. No sleep, constant challenges. Each pod had to gather resources, defend their position, and complete randomized objectives. Maya's pod started strong. Kershtok was a force of nature in combat. Cascade could analyze tactical situations faster than the others could process. The Vexnil could scout ahead through walls. But by hour 20, a larger species started to slow. Keldan physiology required deep rest cycles. Cascade needed time under specific light frequencies to recharge. The Vexnil entered strange fugue states where they couldn't fully interact with normal reality. Maya kept going. She ran on stimulant tabs from her personal supply, things she had brought from Earth. Her body screamed at her to rest. The heavy gravity made every step a fight. But she had learned something growing up in the sprawl. Humans were built different, built to keep going when stopping meant dying. Hour 30. Cascade collapsed, its crystalline structure dimming. Maya dragged it to a light source, positioned it for maximum recharge, and set up a perimeter. Hour 40. Krishtok's movements became sluggish. His armor had cracked under sustained stress. Maya couldn't fix it properly, but she could jury-rig a support using scavenged materials and medical tape. It wouldn't hold in real combat, but it would keep him mobile. The Vexenil phased too deeply and got stuck halfway between dimensions. Maya talked them back, using a meditation technique she had learned from a Tibetan monk who had run a noodle shop in the sprawl. By hour 60, Maya was the only one still fully mobile. The others were functioning, but diminished. The objectives kept coming. Maya completed them, one after another, moving on autopilot, running calculations in her head for optimal routes, because if she stopped thinking about routes, she would start thinking about sleep. The 72-hour mark hit like a hammer. The simulation ended. Pods were transported back to the academy proper for evaluation. Maya stumbled into the debriefing room and sat down hard. Around her, her podmates were recovering. Krishtok's armor was being repaired by technicians. Cascade sat under growth lamps, its structure brightening. The Vexenil meditated. Instructor Varath stood at the front of the room. Behind him, a massive holographic display showed statistics from the trial. Pod 7, he said. Interesting results. The display shifted. Maya saw her individual scores. Combat effectiveness, low. Tactical analysis, medium. Resource gathering, medium. Then she saw the endurance score. It was off the chart. Literally. The graph had to rescale to show it. The human, Varath continued, completed 70% of the objectives in the final 24 hours. When her podmates were diminished, she compensated. Krishtok clicked in surprise. Cascade chimed something that sounded like respect. This presents a question, Varath said. Why? Maya's brain was still foggy from exhaustion, but she forced herself to focus. Biology. Elaborate. Humans are persistence hunters, Maya said, the words coming slowly. On Earth, before we had weapons, we hunted by chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. We can't run fast, but we can run long. We sweat to cool down. We can override our body's signals to rest. It's just how we're built. The room was silent. The other species stared at her. The human biology is designed for endurance, Vareth said. Not strength, not speed, endurance. He pulled up comparison charts. Keldan rest requirements, Shardborn energy cycles, Vexneal fugue states, and then human sleep patterns. Humans could go days without real sleep, functioning on catnaps and stimulants. This is a strategic advantage, Cascade chimed. In extended operations, the human remains effective when others cannot. One of the Vexneal phased slightly, but she cannot fight. In direct combat, she is weak. Combat is not only direct confrontation, Vareth said. Pod 7 achieved the third highest success rate despite having lower individual combat scores. Because while you were diminished, the human maintained your operational effectiveness. Maya was struggling to stay awake. The stimulants were wearing off, and the crash was coming. Humans are force multipliers, Vareth continued. They do not win through superior power. They win through refusing to quit when any rational being would. Kershtok stood. His mandibles clicked thoughtfully. The human dragged Cascade to light, repaired my armor, guided the Vexnail back from phase shift. While we recovered, she fought. Because I didn't have a choice, Maya said. Her words were slurring now. We're a pod. You were down, someone had to keep going. Most beings would have prioritized self-preservation, Vareth said. Maya shrugged. Most beings aren't human. She passed out before she hit the floor. Kershtok caught her with one massive arm, surprisingly gentle. When Maya woke up 18 hours later, she was in the medbay. Her pod was there, waiting. Cascade stood nearest, its crystalline structure glowing softly. You carried the pod when we could not, Cascade chimed. This is noted. This is valued. Kershtok clicked in agreement. I said you were an asset. I did not understand how valuable until now. Maya sat up slowly. Everything hurt. We passed? Third place overall, one of the Vexnil said. Higher than pods with superior combat scores. Because you coordinated, Maya said. I just filled the gaps. You filled gaps that would have broken other pods, Vareth said, phasing into the medbay. Other pods had members fall. They failed objectives because they could not compensate. You ensured Pod 7 remained functional. He looked at her with those strange eyes. The Academy trains warriors, but warriors are not only those who fight. They are those who ensure the mission succeeds. You did that. Does this mean I get to sleep for a week? You have 12 hours, Vareth said, then training resumes. After he left, Cascade moved closer. The others speak of you. The human who does not quit. The small one who carried her pod. Great, Maya muttered. A reputation. A valuable reputation, Kershtok said. Pod 7 is now respected because of you. Maya closed her eyes. Respected was nice, but what she really wanted was sleep. Her podmates stayed while she drifted off, standing guard, keeping watch, because that's what pods did. In the corridor outside, two instructors observed through the window. The human changes the dynamic, one said. Yes, Vareth agreed. She makes them better, not through combat prowess, through refusal to accept failure. Is that enough? Vareth phased slightly, his form flickering. In my experience, the ones who refuse to quit are often the ones who survive. Inside the medbay, Maya dreamed of Detroit, of running through the sprawl, of the old monk who had taught her that the secret to surviving wasn't being the strongest, it was being the last one standing. When she woke, her pod was still there, They had brought extra rations. They had adjusted her bunk so she could reach it easier. They had made space for her in a place designed for giants. Maya looked at them and realized something. She had come here by accident. A bureaucratic error. A cosmic joke. But she was staying on purpose. The announcement came during morning formation. 3 months into the term. The Sovereign's Gauntlet. The final examination. A month-long war game where first-year pods would face the graduating fourth years in simulated combat operations. Maya stood in formation with Pod 7, listening to War Prime Korath explain the rules. Capture objectives. Survive hunter-killer teams. Demonstrate tactical superiority against opponents who had 3 more years of training. The failure rate was significant. Most pods failed multiple objectives. Some pods were eliminated entirely in the first week. For those who failed, it meant repeating the year. Maya felt her podmates tense. In their cultures, repeating a year was deep shame, proof of inadequacy, a mark that would follow them forever. After formation dismissed, Pod 7 gathered in their common area. Krishtok paced, his armor clanking. Cascade's crystals flickered with agitation. The Vexnil phased in and out nervously. "We will be crushed," one of the Vexnil said. "The fourth years are apex warriors. We are students." "We've trained for this," Maya said, but even she could hear the doubt in her voice. "Training against training," Krishtok clicked. "Not against true warriors. The fourth years hunt first years as sport. Every year the same pattern. First years charge in with strength and are defeated by experience." Maya was quiet for a moment, thinking. "Then we don't charge in." Cascade chimed. "Explain." "Every year first years try to outfight the fourth years. Strength against strength. But we can't win that way. They're better trained, better equipped, more experienced." "Yes," Krishtok said impatiently. "This is the problem." "No," Maya said slowly, an idea forming. "This is the opportunity. They expect us to fight their way, so we fight our way instead." Over the next hour, Maya explained her idea. Asymmetric warfare, guerrilla tactics. Don't fight battles you can't win. Instead, make the enemy fight battles they don't want to fight. "This is dishonorable," one of the Vexnil protested. "Warriors face warriors directly." "And warriors lose when they follow predictable patterns," Maya countered. "Look, I'm human. My species fought wars for thousands of years before we reached the stars. You know what we learned? The weaker force never wins by fighting the stronger force's battle. You win by changing the rules." She pulled up a tactical map of the Gauntlet Arena. "The fourth years will expect us to go for the obvious objectives. They'll have them fortified, defended. We'll be walking into kill zones." "What do you propose?" Cascade asked. "We hit their supply lines, their communications, the infrastructure they need to maintain their defensive positions. We make them come to us, and when they do, we're not there. We're somewhere else, taking something they didn't expect to lose." Krishtok's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "This requires coordination, multiple pods working together." "Yes," Maya agreed, "which is why we need to convince other pods to join us." That proved harder than expected. Most pods rejected the idea immediately. They were warriors. They fought with honor. They would not hide in shadows like scavengers. But 3 pods agreed to meet. Pod 7, Pod 12, led by a methodical Keldan named Throck. Pod 19, with a brilliant Shardborn tactician called Prism. Maya stood before them in a converted storage bay, laying out her plan. "The fourth years have 16 hunter-killer teams and 3 command centers. They'll expect us to attack the command centers directly. We won't. We'll target their logistics, food supplies, power generators, medical facilities." "Coward tactics," a warrior from Pod 12 said. "Smart tactics," Maya corrected. "A fourth year without food is a fourth year making mistakes. A fourth year without power is operating in the dark. A fourth year without medical support is taking fewer risks. Prism chimed thoughtfully. You propose to degrade their capabilities before engaging. Exactly. And while they're scrambling to protect their infrastructure, we take the secondary objectives, the ones they've left undefended because they assumed we'd go for the glory targets. And when they hunt us? Krishtalk asked. We don't be there to hunt. We move constantly. Small teams, hit and fade. Never stay long enough to be pinned down. It took hours of argument, but eventually the three pods agreed to try Maya's approach. They spent the next 2 weeks preparing, memorizing routes, practicing quick strikes, learning to move as coordinated units rather than individual warriors. The gauntlet began on a simulated dawn. Klaxons blared. Pods were released into the massive training zone, a constructed environment of buildings, terrain, and hazards that covered several square miles. Most pods charged toward the central objectives immediately. Maya heard the sounds of combat in the distance. Explosions, weapon fire. The fourth years were ready. Pod 7 moved in the opposite direction. They hit a supply depot in the north sector, sabotaged the power generators, and were gone before the fourth years could respond. Pod 12 struck a medical station. Pod 19 collapsed a key access tunnel. By the end of day 1, the fourth years were confused. This wasn't the pattern. First years didn't avoid combat. They didn't strike infrastructure. By day 3, they were angry. Their supply lines were disrupted. They had to pull hunter-killer teams back to guard facilities. By day 7, they were adapting. They set traps, established patrols, tried to predict where the guerrilla pods would strike next. Maya sat in a hidden position with Pod 7, monitoring communications they had tapped into. They're learning. We need to change tactics again. To what? Cascade asked. Maya grinned. Now we go for the glory targets. While they're expecting us to hit more infrastructure, we take the central objective. Kirschtalk's mandibles spread in what Maya had learned was a Keldan smile. Bold. Crazy, one of the Vexnil muttered. Same thing, Maya said. The assault on the Central Command Center came at simulated midnight. While the fourth years were defending their supply lines and watching for guerrilla strikes, 3 pods converged on the central objective from different directions. It wasn't easy. The fourth years had left guards, automated defenses, traps, but they had pulled most of their forces to protect the infrastructure. They had adapted to the guerrilla tactics, but overcorrected. Pod 7 hit the east entrance. Krishtalk and 2 other Keldon provided the muscle, battering through the outer defenses. Cascade analyzed the security systems and found the weak points. The Vexnil phased through walls to disable internal defenses, and Maya coordinated it all, running communications between the 3 pods, calling out timing, ensuring everyone moved as one unit. A fourth-year Keldon squad intercepted them in the central corridor. They were massive, battle-hardened, their armor covered in achievement marks. You cannot win, first years, their leader clicked. Surrender with honor. Krishtalk stepped forward. We do not surrender. Then Cascade dropped the ceiling. It was one of Maya's traps, set up during their reconnaissance. The fourth years went down under debris and failing support beams. Not dead, the simulation wouldn't allow that, but neutralized. Pod 7 ran past them. They reached the central control room 30 seconds ahead of Pod 12, coming from the west. Together, they captured the objective. The simulation froze. Lights changed. The Gauntlet's AI voice announced, Central Objective captured. First-year coalition victory. The silence that followed was profound. The fourth years stood in shock. First years didn't win the Gauntlet. They survived it, if they were lucky. They didn't win. In the observation room, instructors watched the recorded footage. War Prime Korath stood beside Instructor Vareth, his massive form utterly still. The human, Korath said finally. She designed this strategy? She proposed it, Vareth confirmed. The others refined and executed it. Guerrilla warfare, infrastructure targeting, deception and misdirection. Korath's mandibles clicked slowly. This is not how we teach combat. No, Vareth agreed. This is how humans fight wars. The war prime was quiet for a long moment. We have trained warriors for 3 centuries. We have never seen tactics like this. Because we have never had a human student. At the closing ceremony, Maya stood with Pod 7. They were exhausted, battered, but they had won. Not just survived. Won. War Prime Korath himself presented their completion markers. When he reached Maya, he paused, looking down at the small human who had changed the gauntlet. You were in error, human, he said. Maya met his gaze. Best mistake you ever made, sir. His mandibles clicked. Keldan laughter. Indeed. It was heavy, made of some dense metal, engraved with symbols she was still learning to read. You have shown us something we did not know we were missing, Korath said. Perspective. That night, Pod 7 celebrated in their quarters. Krishtok had somehow acquired non-regulation fermented beverages. Cascade had dimmed its structure to a soft glow. Even the Vexnil were fully in phase, laughing. Maya sat among them, these alien warriors who had become her pod, her team, her strange family. She thought about the clerical error that had sent her here, the mistake that had changed everything. Not a mistake, she decided. A gift. The message arrived 2 weeks after the gauntlet ended. Maya sat in the common area of Pod 7's quarters, reading it on her tablet, while Krishtok practiced combat forms in the corner, and Cascade recharged under the growth labs. From Galactic Sovereignty Education Board. Subject, Enrollment Error Resolution. Dear Maya Chen, we are pleased to inform you that the administrative error regarding your enrollment has been corrected. Your original acceptance to the Viridian Diplomatic Institute remains valid and has been extended to the next academic term. Additionally, based on your successful completion of first-year trials at Coxathor Combat Academy, we are authorized to offer you a full scholarship to continue your studies there, with a formal recommendation from War Prime Korath and Instructor Vareth. Please indicate your choice within 10 standard days. Respectfully, Administrator Genthal, Galactic Sovereignty Education Board. Maya read it twice, then 3 times. The Diplomatic Institute. That was the plan. The safe plan. The plan that made sense. You are troubled, Cascade chimed from its position under the lamps. Got my correction letter, Maya said. I can go to the Diplomatic Institute now, or stay here. Krishtok stopped his practice forms. You would leave Pod 7? I don't know, Maya admitted. The Institute is what I wanted. Good career prospects. I'd actually get to sleep more than 4 hours a night, Cascade prompted. Maya looked around the quarters, at the bunks they had modified so she could reach hers, at the table where they shared rations and argued about tactics, at the viewport showing the asteroid field where she had learned to fight, to endure, to lead. But I'd miss this, she said quietly. I'd miss you guys. Then stay, Krishtok said simply. It's not that easy. The Diplomatic Institute is the smart choice. The Academy is dangerous. I could die here. You could die anywhere, Cascade chimed. The question is where you wish to live. Maya sat with that for a while. Then she made a decision. She requested a meeting with War Prime Korath and the Education Board representatives. They met in one of the Academy's formal conference rooms, a space designed to accommodate multiple species. Maya felt very small, sitting across from the War Prime and 3 board members. I've made my decision, Maya said, but I have a proposal first. Korath's mandibles clicked. Speak. Maya pulled up a presentation she had been working on for the past week. Data, statistics, analysis. Human students have never been considered for combat academies because of our physical limitations. But my performance here proves that humans have strategic value. Not as frontline warriors, but as tactical thinkers and unconventional warfare specialists. She showed her completion rates, her pod's success metrics, the gauntlet results. I propose a pilot program, human exchange students at multi-species military academies. Not many, just enough to introduce human perspectives on warfare and tactics. One of the board members, a crystalline being similar to Cascade, chimed skeptically. Humans are a young species, newly joined to the sovereignty. What makes you believe they have tactical knowledge worth sharing? Because we've been fighting each other for 10,000 years, Maya said bluntly. Humans perfected asymmetric warfare, guerrilla tactics, psychological operations, urban combat. We had to. We didn't have natural armor or weapons. We had to think our way through problems that other species solved with strength. She pulled up historical data, human military conflicts, the variety of tactics, the constant innovation. Every species in the sovereignty fights the way their biology dictates. Keldon use strength and armor. Vexnil use phase abilities. Shardborn use networked intelligence. But humans, we adapt. We change. We use whatever works. This is untested, another board member said. So was enrolling me here, Maya pointed out. That was an accident, but it worked. Imagine what happens when it's intentional. War Prime Korath leaned forward. You believe human students could improve our training programs. I believe diversity in tactics improves everyone. My pod learned from me. I learned from them. Krishtok taught me about sustained combat. Cascade taught me tactical analysis. I taught them about endurance and unconventional thinking. We all got better. The board members conferred in their various languages. Maya waited, her heart pounding. This was crazy. She was proposing to change centuries of military tradition based on one successful year. Finally, Korath spoke. The board is intrigued. If you accept the scholarship to continue at Koksator Academy, we will authorize a pilot program. 3 additional human students for the next term. You will serve as both student and teaching assistant, helping integrate them. Maya felt something settle in her chest. I accept. The scholarship, the academy, the chance to bring more humans here. You are certain? The Diplomatic Institute offers significantly better safety margins. I'm certain, Maya said. I came here by accident, but I'm staying on purpose. The next term began 4 weeks later. Maya stood at the shuttle dock, waiting. She was now officially a second-year student and teaching assistant. Her uniform had a new marker indicating her role. Pod 7 had been given special quarters due to their gauntlet victory. The shuttle arrived, the docking bay doors opened, and 3 humans stepped out, looking terrified. They were carefully selected this time. Chen Wei from Luna Colony, tall and athletic, with a background in systems engineering. Sarah Okonkwo from Earth's African Federation, shorter than Maya, but with military training. Yuki Tanaka from Mars, quiet and analytical, with advanced degrees in strategy. They saw the other species boarding, the massive Keldan, the crystalline Shardborn, the phasing Vexnil. Their faces went pale. Maya walked up to them, still barely 5 feet tall, still grinning. Welcome to Xathor, she said. I'm Maya Chen. I'll be your teaching assistant. Chen Wei stared at her. You're human. Last time I checked. They said the only human who attended survived a full year. That was you? That was me. Sarah looked around at the alien warriors. Is it really as bad as they say? Maya laughed. The same laugh she had given when she first read the error message. Worse. You're going to hate it here. You're going to question every choice that led to this moment. You're going to want to quit. That's supposed to be encouraging? Yuki asked. No, Maya said, but here's the thing they don't tell you. Here's the thing I learned. She gestured to the academy, visible through the viewport. the massive installation, the training grounds, the asteroid field where she had learned what humans were truly capable of. We're humans. We don't survive because we're the strongest. We don't win because we're the biggest or the fastest or the most heavily armed. We survive because we're too stubborn to die and too creative to quit. She started walking toward the academy entrance. The 3 new students followed. You're going to face warriors from species that evolved as apex predators. They're going to be bigger, stronger, and better equipped than you, and you're going to teach them something they've never learned. What's that? Chenwei asked. Maya's grin widened. That the scariest thing in the galaxy isn't the biggest predator. It's the prey that refuses to run. Behind them, Krishtok and the rest of Pod 7 waited at the entrance. When they saw Maya approaching with the new human students, they moved forward to greet them. More humans, Krishtok clicked. Good. Pod 7 requires additional tactical perspectives. Wait, Sarah said. We're going to be in your pod? You will train with multiple pods, Cascade chimed. But yes, you will work with Pod 7 extensively. We have learned the value of human thinking. Yuki looked at Maya. This is real? Humans are actually valued here? You have to earn it, Maya said. Same as I did. Same as everyone does. But yeah, once you prove yourself, they'll respect you. She led them into the academy proper. The corridors were massive, designed for large species. The gravity was heavy, pressing down on them. Around them, alien warriors moved with purpose and power. The new students looked overwhelmed. Maya remembered that feeling. The sense of being impossibly small in a place designed for giants. Fair warning, Maya said as they walked. The first trial is tomorrow. It's going to test everything you have. Don't. Sarah Wei asked. Maya stopped walking. She turned to face them, and they saw something in her eyes. Not just confidence, not just determination, something harder. Something earned through months of pain and triumph. Because I need you, Maya said simply. The Academy needs you. The galaxy needs humans who can think differently, who can show these species that there's more than one way to fight, more than one way to win. She smiled. Besides, it's actually kind of fun, once you get past the terror and the pain and the constant feeling that you're about to die. Sarah laughed, despite herself. You're insane. Probably, Maya agreed, but I survived, and I'm going to make sure you survive too. They continued walking. Behind them, the stars wheeled beyond the viewport. Ahead, the challenges of the Academy waited. Around them, alien warriors moved with centuries of tradition and power. And walking among them, 5 humans, small, unarmed, physically outmatched by every other species in the facility. But walking with confidence, with purpose, with the knowledge that they brought something to the Academy that had never existed before. Perspective, creativity, and the sheer bloody-minded human refusal to acknowledge the word impossible. Maya glanced back at the new students one more time. They were scared. They should be. But they were here, and that was enough. Come on, she said. Let me show you where the good rations are hidden. Trust me, you're going to need the extra calories. As they disappeared into the academy, Instructor Vareth watched from a viewing platform above. War Prime Korath joined him. The humans are an interesting addition, Vareth said. The error that brought the first one has become an opportunity. What do you predict will happen? Vareth's form flickered. I predict that in 10 years, every major military academy in the sovereignty will have human tactical advisors. In 20 years, human strategic thinking will be standard curriculum. Bold prediction. The first human changed Pod 7. Now she will change others. Humans are infectious. In the best way. They make everyone around them think differently. Korath's mandibles clicked. The small species teaching the large ones. The prey teaching the predators. Yes, Vareth said, and we are all better for it. Below, Maya and the new students disappeared around a corner. Their laughter echoed through the corridors. a sound that had never existed in the academy before Maya arrived. The sound of humans who had found their place in the galaxy, not through mistake, not through accident, through choice, through determination, through sheer, stubborn, beautiful human audacity. And the galaxy would never be quite the same.